Welcome to the Ordinary Marathoner Podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Ordinary Marathoner Podcast. My name is Coach Scott. I'll be your host today. It is Monday, June 15th. I got a good show for you today. I got a couple things I want to discuss. At the end of this podcast, there may or may not be a segment with June Walker. June of Gramma Junie. Gramma Junie has a pottymouth.com. Made me this awesome mug, by the way. It's awesome. I drink my coffee out of this every day. It's a great mug. Great mug. Thank you, Junie. But she wanted to do our Couch-To-5k program. We recently revamped our Couch-To-5k program. It's up on our teamordinary.com webpage. You can check it out there. There's also a link to it in the right column of our Ordinary Marathoner podcast page. So you can check it out either way if you're interested in doing the Couch-To-5k program. But what I really want to do, I've always wanted to do, is kind of take someone from the start and kind of handhold them through all 10 weeks of the Couch-To-5k program and see how it works, see how it does for them, and watch how they improve as an athlete over that time. And Junie has volunteered herself. Hopefully she can stay with it all 10 weeks. She's volunteered herself to do that, and we'll see how it goes. We'll see how, hopefully we'll be able to get her on the podcast later today and talk to her about the program and walk her through the first steps of how to get started. It's pretty self-explanatory if you go to the page. But check it out if you're interested. Hopefully we'll be able to get that for you today. A couple other things to talk about. Our Thursday night Zwift ride was awesome last week. It was a great group of people, probably about 10 people. We did movie trivia. We focused on comedy movies, and I think we found a really good niche there. It was just a blast, a really good time. A lot of people got involved. Sometimes we have about 10 people show up and maybe only 3 or 4 of them actually partake in the trivia. But this time, everyone was kind of involved and into it. And I don't know, it was just a lot of fun. You can check that out on our YouTube page too. We have the live stream that is up there. The recording of that is up there on our YouTube page. And if you're interested in getting involved, reach out to me. Of course, we'll get you added to it if you're on the Zwift platform. A couple of the things that happened that day. One of the things that we noticed was the Zwift Keep Everyone Together mode, which is exactly what it sounds like. You have a group of riders, you invite them, everyone stays together. No matter how fast you ride or how slow you ride, they keep us all together so we're all in the same group. There's some kind of algorithm that then fixes that and keeps us all together. That has broken down on Zwift over the last 2 weeks, and it's been really frustrating and annoying. Not everyone wants to ride my pace, which is sort of in the middle. Not everyone wants to ride super fast. Not everyone wants to wants to put a lot of energy in it at all. You might be doing a zone 2 ride and you might, hold back. You don't want to fall off the back of the pack because it's going to, you feel like you want to catch up. You want to be with everybody. The other problem with it is that, the way Zwift is set up, if you go far apart, if the group really kind of expands outward and there's people 3 miles off the front and 2 miles off the back, you can't hear the chat very well. For whatever, and it's not even hearing, you can't read it, right? So if I type something and you're 3 miles ahead, Ron Booze, Mike Romans, you might not see. So if we're doing movie quotes, it's really important to kind of see the conversation, right? And if you can't see the conversation, what's the point? So it was really frustrating and annoying. I did send a tweet out to Zwift, and they responded quickly. And supposedly there was a patch over the weekend that fixed that problem. We're going to be seeing whether or not that thing got fixed on Thursday night. I'm looking forward to another good Thursday night ride again this week. I think we really kind of built up some momentum here. And look, I love this. It's a lot of fun. I love building the community out and the group out. And hopefully we're able to do it again this Thursday. Friday night, we had our happy hour. Happy hour number 4. Stephanie Lueras was our guest, motivational speaker, and she has a great story. Has a great story of turning things around, losing weight, getting involved in endurance sports, becoming a coach, all this good stuff. Really a great story. And that one, finally, guys, not finally, but at least I didn't screw it up, let's just say. Now and it's funny, you can go up on the YouTube and look at the playlist, and it's Happy Hour 1, Happy Hour 2, Happy Hour 4, because Happy Hour 3 with Heather Samuelson, I didn't record properly. It didn't get recorded and didn't get uploaded. And I'm still upset by that because I feel like when I'm kind of a little OCD and I see 1, 2, 4, it bothers me. And especially bothers me because Heather was such a great guest and we did talk about a lot of really good informative topics there. But the good news is we're back on track, and Happy Hour with Stephanie really worked out well. And if you missed it live, you can go on and you can find it on the YouTube channel now and just watch the tape of it. It's really good, really informative. And I'm looking forward. I mean, we've kind of had a nice little series here going on every other Friday night, getting together for happy hour and just sitting down and talking about endurance training, motivation, all that good stuff. And we're going to try to get another guest for you in a couple weeks as well. I got a couple in mind. We'll see how that works out, but I'm sure we'll get someone for us in a little less than 2 weeks now. Not this Friday, but the Friday after. Sounds good. Our coaching deal is still available. Coaching. So right now, if you sign up by the end of June, you'll get 1 month free. You just got to commit to 3 months. And I think that's great. I think it's the perfect amount of time. If you've always wondered if coaching is right for you, if you need a coach or a coach would benefit you, let's do this. Give me a call. We'll have a free consultation. Consultations are always free. I love talking to you guys, finding out your goals, what you're planning on doing and how I can help. And if I can help, we'll sign you up. We'll get going. Sometimes we have a conversation. It seems like, maybe you're not in the right spot or things may not mesh exactly well for us to start that relationship. And we go through the steps and we discover whether or not it's right for you. That's it. The conversation is always free. I love having those. So reach out to me, and let's connect and see if coaching is right for you. Again, the deal is 1 month free if you sign up by the end of June with a 3 month total commitment. So look, you're paying for 2 months out of 3. I think that's a good deal. And then you're finding out whether or not coaching is right for you. So let me know. Let me know if you're interested. I've got a bunch of people I've already talked to already. I got a couple more scheduled, one scheduled for today too. Looking forward to that. Moving forward, my training has been on point, guys. Lately, it is really on point. And I know someone asked me the other day, they said, hey, I know you're signing up for Ironman Lake Placid next year. And I am. That's the goal. Whether or not it happens, there's going to be, it's depending on if there's a race this year and how they, do all the transfer options. If there isn't, there might be a monkey wrench thrown in the works here. But with all else being equal, if things go well, I will be doing Ironman Lake Placid next year. And someone asked me if I'll be returning to the daily podcast in the morning. The thought is interesting and tempting because I put myself back in that mode and I love doing those podcasts and I love churning those out 10 to 20 minutes, no matter what I do, and spitting those out pretty much every day and talking about training. If you guys really like those and you want me to bring them back, let me know. Just I'm thinking about it. I am thinking about it. Life is hard. There's a lot of, I have a lot on my plate, a lot on the schedule. But I think sometimes that might be a good kick in the pants for me to just kind of get through these modes where I kind of record podcasts and don't put them out. If I just, know I got to get done in 10 to 15, 20 minutes, whatever it may be, get it done, get it out there, start my day. That might be key for me. But let me know on that. Who knows? I don't really quite know. Now, I heard back. So I had registered for Ironman Muscle Man. It's 70.3 in New York, in upstate New York. It was supposed to take place next month, probably about a month from now. It got postponed, canceled for the year, actually. Postponed till next year. Ironman reached out and they gave me a few transfer options. The default option is that I'll just go to next year and I'll be registered at Muscleman next year. There is no refund. Of course, we all know how Ironman works. There is no refund. Even though I got my Ironman tattoo, there's no love here. The transfer options were Atlantic City, 70.3. I'm not really into Atlantic City. Ocean swim, I don't really like the ocean swim or the idea of the ocean. It's not my idea of fun. I don't know. I'm not really into Atlantic City. I don't really feel like I want to do Atlantic City. Other than that, everything is travel. Florida, there's one in Texas. All these options that I have to travel to that I don't want to do. I like to throw the bike on the back of my car and go. I don't like to kind of try to figure out how am I going to get it? How am I going to fly here with all my gear and not have to worry about that? I can drive to Lake Placid in 4 hours. I can drive to Muscleman in 5 hours. I can drive, I drove to Maryland in, 6-7 hours, whatever it was. I can do those. There's Ironman Connecticut, which wasn't an option, but if it was, I might have done that. Anyway, moving on. I don't know. I don't know. So the option was to take, the default option is Ironman Muscle Man next year. The problem is that race is 2 weeks before Ironman Lake Placid, which is the full Ironman that I really want to do. It's supposed to be my A goal next year. And there is no way that I'm going to destroy my A goal by doing a B goal race 2 weeks beforehand. That's still going to be strenuous and still going to take a lot of training just to focus on that. Yes, I could approach it as a training ride, but 2 weeks before full Ironman, do you really want to be doing a half? I don't think so. As a coach, I would definitely not advise that. So the problem is, what do I transfer to? What do I, and the answer is I'm just going to let it expire. I don't know. So I'm going to have to call Ironman, which is like impossible to do. You can't even find a phone number for them. I'm going to have to call Ironman and see if they'll make some kind of, adjustment for me. Give me some kind of, a help here. I need help, guys. I need help. Anyway, moving on. Training's been going great, and I the last couple of weeks I started putting some more running into my program. My problem is I've been looking at running as sort of an addition. I focus on the cycling. The running has been sort of like, maybe I'll go for a run here, go for a run there. No focus whatsoever. And now that, I've kind of decided that I got to start training for Philadelphia in late November, I've kind of flipped the switch, and we're working hard on the run. I got some good runs in last week. I got an interval run. I got a tempo run. Last weekend I started my run training. I did 5 miles. It was a 10:29 pace. This weekend I was going to bump that up by a mile, and just, you want to expand that slowly. I was going to be doing 6 miles, but I was psyched for those 6 miles. I had put in such good work during the week. I was looking forward to that run on Sunday, and I haven't looked forward. I can't remember the last time I was looking forward to a long run. Put it that way. I can't remember the last time I was like, man, I'm excited about this because I know I could do it. I put in the work. I knew it would be successful. And a lot of times what happens is I go out and I try to run 6 miles and you wind up doing 4. Now, when we did the Ordinary Marathon, which was the middle of May, the last day of the Ordinary Marathon, May 17th, I had to do 6 miles. And I got to tell you, it was a struggle. The last mile or two was a struggle. I needed to do it. I did it, but it wasn't fun. My legs were hurting, and it just didn't feel right. But after having done 5 miles last week and putting the work in, I kind of felt really confident going into yesterday's run. And yesterday I did that 6 miles in a 10:16 pace, which is faster than I had done 5 miles the week before. So it feels to me like things are coming back, and they're coming back a little bit stronger, which means that maybe all that cycling was good in the long run, and that things are moving. It's going to be, what I'm hopeful for is that it's easier to kind of get back into that half marathon type shape. It'll take a few weeks, and then I'll be back in that, and then I can work towards that marathon distance. I have to tell you too, this training cycle, and the reason I started a little bit earlier than normal, is because I kind of look at conventional wisdom when it comes to these things. It comes to training for endurance sports, and conventional wisdom in my mind has done me wrong at times. And I'm going to tell you what I mean. The first time I ever trained for a marathon, they told me I needed to do a 20-mile training run. And afterwards, I talked to some coaches. They're like, oh, yeah, mostly that's mental. They say that you should do a 20-mile run, but they want you to just do 20 miles. So it feels like, if I can do 20, I can add another 10K, and that's not a big deal. And mentally, it feels like, all right, if I can do 20, I can do 26.2 on race day. And I get that. But then a lot of those same coaches will tell you that in reality, if you can do 16, 17, 18 miles, that's really enough, and you'll be fine. Here's my problem. My problem is that I've done that. I've done 20-mile training runs. I've done 18 miles. I've done 15 miles as my max. And I've had different results all over the place. But the one result that I haven't had that I really want to have is I've never felt comfortable starting and finishing a marathon and running the whole way, or at least even if I'm doing intervals, of doing a significant interval without being like, 50-50. Like, so when I set my PR at Hartford, I ran the first half marathon. I felt pretty good about it. And then I forced myself into intervals, and they were really like, it was probably like a 1 minute run. it was a distance interval. So it was like I would pick telephone poles, and I'd say, all right, run 2 telephone poles, walk 1, something like that. And I don't remember the exact thing until I got to the point where I could sense the finish. And when I sensed the finish and I felt like I could run all the way, then I ran all the way, which wasn't to like mile 25. Anyway, I feel like I have never been in that comfort zone that I could run the entire way and be confident about it. And I really want to get there. So this time in the training cycle, what I'd like to do is I'd like to get those training runs up from, instead of being 20 miles, 22, 23, 24. And the last one I have in there is a 22 to 25 miler. So anywhere between then. And just to get me those extra couple miles, a little more confidence, a little more experience of knowing what I'm going to be doing and what I'm going to be feeling in those later miles. Now, a lot of coaches will say that's too much. I've heard coaches say that's too much and not necessary. I don't know. Because sometimes I feel like, yes, I've read that and it's written, I've seen it written. And I've heard people talk about that. Sometimes I don't, I think that maybe, I look at body type and I know, look, I'm not a runner that's been out. I don't run all the time. I was not bred a runner. I was not a high school track athlete. And I have this body that's thick. And guys, I'm not talking about that insult that we all hear, right? Oh, you don't have a runner's body. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about I'm just thick and I typically weigh more than your competitive marathoner. Then, most of your coaches out there, not all of them, but most of them have been runners all their lives and they have that experience to fall back on, but they have that experience as a 160 pound, 170 pound or less type of runner. They don't know what it's like to run a full marathon at 225. And I think that there's definitely increased risk, I think, of injury by doing that. I think that there's increased risk of injury. And yeah, I get it. You have to weigh the positives and negatives. But the thing is, I've gone and I've done 7 marathons before. And in those 7 marathons, I've maxed out max 20-mile training run. I just want to try it. I want to try to do a little bit more. And I tell you, the thing that when I see so many ultra athletes go out there and train, and I see you guys go out there and do like a 35-mile training run for your 100-mile race, I look at that and I say to myself, well, if you guys can do a 35-mile training run, why can't I do it 22, 23, 24? And I don't know. I mean, I like the idea of getting that experience down. I wouldn't do a 25-mile training run the week before a full marathon. There definitely has to be some relax, recovery time in there. And typically, from what I understand, the rule of thumb and what I've employed as a coach, the rule of thumb is never run more miles than you have days left to the event. So if you're doing 25 miles, you better be doing that 25 days before the event. And it's kind of just a nice rule of thumb. And I agree with it. In practice, it's worked for me in the past, whether it be half marathon. If you're doing a 13-mile race, you're not going to do a 13-mile training run 5 days beforehand. You might do it 2 weeks beforehand, right? So 14 days beforehand, get that 13 miles done if you'd like. And that's within your parameter there. That's within the number of days to race day. I like that rule of thumb, and I go with it. But I do want to try doing some longer training runs before my big event in July. Sorry, in November, late November. Lastly, I want to put out. This might be stupid. It might be horrible. I don't know. We're going to talk. So I wanted to talk about a little bit today about dreams. And I know we've talked about dreams before, like, I've always dreamed to finish my first marathon. Always dreamed of being an Ironman. Always dreamed of doing an ultra or riding cross country, whatever your dream may be. That's not the kind of dream I'm talking about today. I want to talk about actual dreams, like when you go to sleep at night and you have, recurring dreams. And I got to tell you, when it comes to dreams, sometimes people say to me, I had a dream the other night. I zone out immediately. You might as well be talking about your fantasy football team. Like, I really don't care. So you may not care. You may not care at all about this, but I'll give you the opportunity to kind of listen, and you can either give me some feedback, what you think this might be about, or you could call me names and laugh. I'm cool with that. I don't really care. But I just found it interesting, and I figured I'll throw it out there for you guys, and you guys can judge me. I invite you to judge me. It's fine. So the other night, I had this dream, and it was kind of a little bit wacky, and it kind of put it in perspective. I have recurring dreams, not every night. It's not like an every night thing, but I would say at least a few times a year, I have the same dream where I go back to like playing college football, and I'm preparing for the game, ready to play. I never actually play in the game, but something goes wrong. Either I'm late, or I'm missing some kind of equipment, or I'm walking out to the field and I forgot something and I have to turn around and go get it. And in my brain, it's funny because I have 46-year-old brain, but I'm still like putting myself in 22-year-old me's place. So I'm like, man, I'm going out on the field to play a game, but geez, I can't remember all the plays. I don't remember the play, And I think with football, it's kind of interesting. Football is a different experience than endurance events. All right, they're all mentally taxing in their different way, and pose different challenges mentally in your approach. Football it's a violent game. It's highly intense. There are bursts of energy for 6 to 8 seconds called plays, and then you get a little break and you kind of relax, refresh, get back to the huddle. Endurance events are different. They're more long, protracted, full events that you have to kind of stay even keel. You don't want to get too high. You don't want to get too low. You want to stay that even keel level throughout the day. It's very hard to kind of get super psyched up for an Ironman race, or you're going to just run out of energy real quick. You got to stay steady over a longer period of time. It's different than football. Football becomes a ritual. Ironman does too in its way. But you do the same thing to get ready every single time. You get dressed the same way. You get ready. You get prepared. Maybe there's something different that you do. You get warmed up. It's always the same thing week after week. And it becomes ritual. So I have that ritual still in my head. And I have this recurring, and I never actually play the game. But I'm always like concerned that I'm late, or I'm missing something, or I'm not ready, not prepared. Move on to this next dream that I had the other night. I'm online, and I've had some Ironman dreams before, similar in nature, but this one was kind of really weird. So I'm on the line for the swim, ready to get going. The starting line is going. People are moving in the water. I'm talking to this guy next to me. Apparently, we're partners in this thing. We're supposed to be doing things together. We're strategizing how we're going to approach the race together. There's some kind of like relay type aspect or something. Me and him are supposed to be working together. And we're walking up the front. We're strategizing how we're going to swim. And we get to this like big screen, right? It's a big screen to get into the water that we have to get through. And there's a little 5x5 square, a really small square. It's cut out of the screen, and we have to get through this little 5x5 square in order to get into the water. And it's physically impossible for any human being to get through this thing. I mean, even a contortionist, I don't know how they would possibly get through what I'm looking at. And I'm getting there. I'm like, what the hell is this thing? And you got to go through it to get into the water on the other side. It's no big deal. Everyone gets through it. Okay. Walking up, and we get to this thing, and I'm watching, and the guy that I'm with, that I'm supposed to be swimming with, puts his arm through the thing, 5x5 square, squeezes his head through, pops out the other side. He's in the water. He's going. He's swimming. And I'm looking at this. I'm like, I can't get through there. But of course, being an idiot, and people behind me start yelling like, come on, dude, let's go. I try. I put my arm through. It's getting caught. I can't even get my head even close to this thing. Someone's trying to pick me up in the back and push me through. And I'm like, look, I can't get through this thing. This is stupid. Nobody can get through this thing. And people are getting aggravated. They move me back. And then everyone behind me starts going through this thing. It reminds me kind of like that scene in Ace Ventura where he's kind of coming out of the rhino. Everyone's getting through. Everyone's getting through and pushing through this little hole in the screen to get further and to start their race. And I can't get through. And I say to the guy, can't I get around the screen and just start over there? And he's like, no, man, DNF. If you don't get through here, you get automatic DNF. And I'm like, I'm standing there. I wind up waking up before, but that's about it. I never started the swim. But it was just a really strange dream. And it's like, and I've had other dreams like that. I've had dreams, another one very similar. When I lived in New York, I was coming out of the subway, same subway station I come out every day. And there's a staircase, a few stairs there. I don't know, 8 stairs maybe. I don't know. But I was used to just getting there, walking upstairs, going to work. On this day, the staircase was gone. It was replaced it was one step. It was like a wall, about a 6-foot step. And no one's saying a word. Everyone's acting like it's normal. And people are going up this thing. They're just kind of putting their arm up and pulling themselves up and going. in their suits, their work clothes, their shoes, their dress shoes, all that stuff. Old people, young people, tall, short, men, women, heavy, light, whatever. Everyone's pretending like this thing is not even an obstacle. And I can't pull myself up the stair. I'm like concerned I'm going to be trapped in the subway for the rest of my life. And everyone else is just having absolutely no issue with it. So I ask you, my audience. A, I know I'm weird. I know it's kind of crazy. But B, what does this mean? It's got to be some kind of like self-deprecation type of thing, right? Where I don't feel like I measure up to what the normal people do. And it's funny. I mean, I finished an Ironman. I finished multiple marathons. You would think that in my brain as an athlete, I would put myself, above a sort of like the normal person. But for whatever reason, I have these dreams that make it seem like I have accomplished nothing. You know what I mean? It's like I can't do the simplest tasks that other people do and they don't even look at it as a thing. And for some reason, I find them impossible. Is that it? Something like that. I don't know. I just figured I'd throw that out there today. It's not every day I have an Iron Man dream, so I don't know. I figured I'd throw that out there and see how it is. That being said, I hope you guys have a great week. I hope you guys, there's a chance right now that we're going to cut to the June Walker podcast. If so, that'll be great. Okay, guys, I'm here with June Walker. June, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going really well. I'm glad we had a chance to kind of circle up here. Because you have volunteered to be the guinea pig.
Yep, I'm the guinea pig.
For the Couch-To-5k program. I'm so excited. Sometimes I put these things out there and I kind of hope we get a response, and I haven't gotten one yet. So I am thrilled beyond belief that you are taking part.
We'll give it a couple of weeks and see if you're still thrilled with me.
I don't know. I talked to Laura. I've already talked to Laura.
Yeah.
She says, be careful. Got to keep her on her toes. So hopefully we got enough to keep you busy here. Let me ask you this, June. You have a background in running. It's not like you're brand new to this.
Right.
So what makes you want to do a Couch-To-5k? What makes you, do you think that this is something that will help give you the push that you need to to get along and get started again, get moving again?
Well, I was training last year for Marine Corps and I did something to my hip.
Yeah.
And then things just sort of fell off and I ran for a couple of times, then I'd stop, then I'd start up again, and then I would stop. And then I screwed up with my Marine Corps deferral and I didn't get my entry in. So now I'm not doing Marine Corps this year.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Well, who knows if that's going to even happen either, with all the...
Yeah.
So maybe you're lucky in that regard. But it's a little crazy. But I find personally that sometimes a little bit of a structure is what I need. And sometimes when you're on your own and, and you're out there just trying to make time on your own and without kind of like that structure that you see sort of on your calendar for the Couch-To-5k, it's, it can be difficult. So I'm really looking forward to kind of walking you through this and going step by step. Have you had a chance to look at it yet?
Yep, I did. I used my bathroom mirror with a marker, and I write out the schedule on that for 2 weeks.
Ah, okay.
So, I have to look at it all the time.
That's interesting. I don't know if I've ever heard that one before, that method, but it's kind of interesting.
And it's the main bathroom in the house, so it's not like I can hide it away in a back bathroom with nobody can see.
Right. And if you have company come over, it's like, what's this?
Yeah, what's this, and how come this date isn't crossed out? Why this one is, and how come your rest days are always crossed out? But
you got those done.
Yeah.
So we're really looking forward to kind of walking you through. You have any questions before you get going and get moving on this thing?
Not right now. It would be nice if today it would stop raining for a little bit, but otherwise I guess I'll just get wet.
Yeah, I know, first day, which I think we kind of looked at, and we said hopefully we'd start today, 30-day walk. So we start nice and easy, trying to get used to getting out of the house and get moving. I know you've been walking. I know you're ready to go. I'm looking forward to see how you develop over the next couple of weeks. It's going to be a lot of fun.
And I have a stretch. I live out in the country, and the road that I'm on, it actually used to be a dead end road, and there's a covered bridge at the end, which I've posted a lot of pictures with that, I'm sure. And if I go down to the bridge, turn around and come back and go up to the opposite end and come back, that's just shy of 2 miles. And so that's perfect.
Oh, that's a great little trek you have there. Just perfect distance for what we need to accomplish. Any hills on that?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Well,
and where
if you go up, you start and stop at the house. So where, if you go up, it means you have to come down, right?
Right.
So that's
where I usually run at, it's a old gravel road.
Yeah.
And I to get up there, I mean, it's a hill. It's up the hill from my house, and so usually my warm up is more than the 5 minutes that everybody says, and it's till I get to the top of the hill, and then I start. And then that part is not flat either. It starts out downhill, then there's a brief flat spot, and then it's all up and down hills the whole time.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, so number one, you can take a warm up walk as long as you'd want. I mean, you don't have to stop at the minimum. If that brings you to the base of the hill and you guys start running, you can kind of walk a little bit further and just start the running a little bit further. I admittedly do the same thing. I have a hill outside my house. I walk up the hill. The top of the hill, there's a yellow fire hydrant. That's my go.
Yeah, I have a power. My go spot.
So if I'm feeling strong, I'll run up the hill. But if I'm feeling like, all right, this might be a tough one, I'll walk up that hill. I'll get to that fire hydrant and then go. Though you can always extend. A good point to note here: you can always extend that warm up and cool down phase as long as you need to. It's not, it says 5 minutes on most of the days, but it's not a hard and fast 5 minutes. You can certainly, you don't want to. I mean, you don't want to cut your runs short, but
yeah.
You can certainly extend the warm up and the cool down intervals for sure. Let me see. So I guess the only other comment I would make is, because it's a brand new program and we're rolling it out, and it's most of the first few intervals are going to be 1 minute running and then 1 minute walking. The only comment I would make is not to be intimidated by that 1 minute. If you get to like those last few intervals and they're tough and they're hard, and they might be,
and they're supposed to.
Yeah, well, to a certain degree. But yeah. if you need to cut those short, that is fine. You can cut them short and walk the rest and get the 1 minute of walking interval full in, and just start the next one again. I would rather see you do all of the intervals and not complete them running all the time, then just cut the whole workout short and just do 4. Right. And then, so, that's the only kind of comment I would make. We are rooting for you here. Junie is a longtime listener of the podcast. She always she's always involved in everything we do, and you're a big supporter of the Ordinary Marathon. So I thank you. My cup, which I had a moment ago, I just finished my 3rd coffee of the day. But my Coach Scott mug, I've been using every day, and like I said, I just had it. I just put it in the sink because it was dirty, but I've been keeping it right next to me, and I love it. I thank you for all your help with the Ordinary Marathon. And again, you can find Junie and all her craft work at Gramma Junie has a potty mouth.com. You don't have to prove that to us today.
No, I was really good. Did you notice? I didn't.
You're really good. You're really good. Listen, I appreciate you coming on the show. I would love to do this a few more times before you finish the program. Now, do you have anything, sort of any goals at the end of this that you might want to do an actual 5K? Are there races near you?
I don't know if there's any races near us. Oregon is weird. I mean, they're talking about locking everybody back down again and stuff. But what I would like to do if I can't find a race is to actually just do my own 5K. Yeah. I'll make my husband give me a prize.
Well, that'd be great. And it'd be great to kind of follow you through the adventure the next 10 weeks and see how you do and how you improve. Hopefully you stick with it.
By checking it, I have to stay honest about doing it.
That's right. Accountability. We could have you here every week if you like, and we can talk about the next week and how you've done the prior week. I would absolutely love to do that.
Okay. Fine by me.
All right. And that being said,
my husband told me, he goes, yep. He goes, you can't back out of this one.
I know, you'll destroy my podcast. Everyone's believing in you right now, so you got to get it going. You got to stick with it. You know what? I think I've seen you in both phases. I've seen you in kind of like that growth phase where you're doing it and you're sticking with it, and I've seen you kind of not stick with it. So, yep. It's I think we got a good shot here. I think you're due. You're due for an upswing here, and You got a lot of backing, a lot of support. We're all cheering you on here.
If Philly happens, it would be nice to come back and do the Philly half.
And you know what? That is actually, I think that's a really good goal for you at this point. You get, 10 weeks, you'll get to that 3 miles. And then from that 3 mile point, in 10 weeks, that's really like perfect timing for a training program to get to the Philly half. We got a lot of people doing the Philly half. Hopefully that race happens this year.
That'd be nice.
Depending on the second wave and all that stuff, it depends. Right. Like you said, they're talking about Oregon locking back down again. It's like, I just want this thing.
Well, our governor has already said that until there is a cure for COVID, she will never completely release us.
Wow, that's scary.
Yeah.
When's your next election?
This fall, thank God.
All right, well, maybe you'll get out of it then. Hopefully she's not going to let you out of the state to get to Philly. All right, well, listen, 30-minute walk today. Hopefully the rain stops. Hopefully you get out and you can get it done. The good news is you're West Coast, so you have an extra 3 hours from where I am right now to hopefully get that rain through there.
Exactly.
So, all right.
And hopefully now then I can figure out my password on my work phone and find my glasses.
You got a lot to do.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's get going. June, best of luck to you. We're going to follow your next 10 weeks, and hopefully we'll get you through there. We'll get you doing that 5K in 10 weeks, and you'll be off and ready to meet us in Philadelphia for the half. Look at this. Now we've not only set one goal for you, we've got two. Yeah.
And I'm really glad you didn't say the J word, that whole journey thing.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, hey, you have
I don't
a great
like the
day.
J word. All right, you too, June. Jay, that's a J word, June. Best of luck to you. We'll be following you, and good luck. With that being said, we're gonna call it a day for the podcast. And to everyone out there, remember, every day is an ordinary day unless you make it extraordinary. So get after it. Get after it, June.